Donald Trump doubling down on Bill O'Reilly's show last night, looking to profiling as one way to catch potential terrorists.
Israel does it, and Israel does it very successfully.
They do it at the airport.
You want to do it.
They do it at the airport.
It's not, well, they do it. They do it. And when they see somebody that they'd like to talk to, that they'd like to look at, that they'd like to maybe open up their satchel and take a look what's inside, they do it. And they don't like to do it. I don't like to do it, but we have to be, you know, you have a woman who's 87 years old in a wheelchair from Sweden, and we have to look at her if we're going to look at somebody else. It's ridiculous.
So what can we learn, if anything, from our ally in Israel? Joining us right now is a former member of Israel's elite special forces counterterrorism unit and founder of IMS Security, Aaron Cohen. Aaron, did Donald Trump successfully describe what you do in Israel?
He was close, but I'm going to take it a step further. The Israeli security system, which is airtight, and again, we can't stop every terror attack, but we can stop most of them, is based on what I call a D3 system. And let me explain what those are, guys. The first one is the deterrence phase. Israel has a tremendous capability of having armed police officers as well as highly specialized motorcycle units, which carry not one officer but two officers with an AR on those bikes who can not only create a deterrence but can get to a terrorist attack extremely quickly because they're on those bikes. We also arm our soldiers so that they can travel to and from their military bases. We have a conscript army in Israel, and having the weapons on our soldiers is not only a deterrence, but it allows our soldiers to protect themselves when they're moving to and from the base. The second piece is the detection phase. All of our officers in Israel are undercover, or when they're off duty, are used as force multipliers. We also are not afraid of concealed carry in Israel. We issue concealed carry permit holders to all former Special Forces vets. Now, having said that, they're not allowed to just walk around with their gun. They have to go through a mandatory 40 hours of active training, and they're issued or are required to wear some type of what we call friendly fire avoidance clothing. Let me give you an example. This flannel right here looks like just a typical blue flannel.
Right.
When you break away the pocket, it has a highly reflective police patch so that the officers don't actually accidentally get shot by other officers. And what you guys saw at that mall in Minnesota was a former officer or an off-duty officer able to put down that knife-wielding terrorist and be able to identify himself. But here's the thing. It's the same thing with security guards in Israel. Off-duty, they're allowed to be armed. But again, they're forced to carry some kind of identification. This is a friendly fire avoidance hat.
I hear you.
This is standard issue to off-duty security.
You just gave us great information. But I'm wondering, with that small country the size of New Jersey, how do you deal with that in a country the size of America?
Well, this is a tough one because you guys, or we here in the States, have a problem where we've got anti-American and Sharia supremacist type of wolves breeding here in this country. And the problem is that you can't put up a wall. So what you have to do is you have to allow the law enforcement to be able to rely on their off-duty and those concealed carry permit holders to be able to not only act as force multipliers, but to begin to train the public to be able to look for the profile and the behavior. Look at the video surveillance of Rahmani. He's walking down the street in a predominantly gay and lesbian neighborhood. Early in the morning, completely covered up, a giant beard on him. And I'm not saying all Muslims are terrorists, but all of the terrorist attacks that we've seen were perpetrated by Muslims. And those are red flags. The way he's carrying the bag, who was looking at him when he put the bag down. We have security in front of the majority of public places. And we need to start looking at the private sector to put those elements in place, because this guy's a red flag if you look at the video and those still photos.
Being politically correct could be our death sentence if we don't wise up. Aaron Cohen, making a lot of sense. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right.